Hey everybody, it's Father Sean for another episode of the Couch Chat, and today I will be talking about this here grill grate. Yes, this is a grate from a grill that is clean, so it's not getting me all sorts of dirty, but I figured, let's talk about the grill grate. And so you may not know this about the grill grate, but the grill grate is the symbol of one of our saints. One of the saints in the church was burnt alive actually by being laid on a grill grate. And whenever you see this saint pictured, not every time, but oftentimes, he's holding a grill grate, or maybe he's got one that's on a long pole. But the saint is often depicted with a grill grate. And the saint also became the patron saint of comedians. As he's laying flat on the grill grate, he turns to the guards and says, "I'm done on this side, turn me over." And maybe you know this, but the saint who made this joke while being burnt alive on the grill grate is Saint Lawrence, none other than one of our saints, Saint Lawrence. And I mention this story because today actually I've got some things to share on the Couch Chat about some things happening out at Saint Lawrence that really kind of a quick development over these last few weeks. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but either way, figured now's a good time, or now's the appropriate time to share about it. So back on the 15th of April, I got a phone call from some of the priests in a neighboring parish over in Fort Laramie and Sydney, McCartyville, and Newport about just kind of some of the changes over there. So you probably heard that Father John Tonkin, who's currently in St. Mary's and Montezuma and Salina and kind of those parishes there, is moving to Shelby County, Sydney, Fort Laramie, all the ones that I mentioned, McCartyville, Newport. And so he's moving there, and Father John has actually been the pastor at Sacred Heart in McCartyville beforehand. That's been maybe 8 years ago when he was there. But as he moves, he's got some dogs. He would like to move back into the rectory in McCartyville, which is great and honestly fine. That's different parish. But I got a phone call about it because currently Father Steve Mondyke is living in the rectory there in McCartyville. And Father Steve is probably going to retire in the next few years, maybe one, maybe two, maybe, I'm not exactly sure on the details on that. Actually, maybe only God knows. But anyway, sometime in the near future. And so Father Steve eventually would like to retire out at St. Lawrence. He's incredibly involved in the Schoenstatt movement. He's spends a lot of time there in prayer and working with different people involved in the Schoenstatt movement. So he would like to retire there when the time comes. So they inquired about him moving into the St. Lawrence rectory basically sooner rather than later. So sooner rather than his retirement. And so we had to talk about that. So pretty quickly I gathered the finance committee, the pastoral council, buildings and grounds to say, do we want to do this? Is this a good thing? How would this look? What things do we need to do to the rectory out at St. Lawrence? In the meantime, I did take Father Steve Mondyke out there, kind of showed him around the place, even showed him in the rectory in Bodkins, but it was probably just a little too big as moving towards retirement, and would prefer to be at St. Lawrence with all the Schoenstatt activities, which makes sense. And then after that, one of the things this would really affect would be our CCD program out at St. Lawrence. There's a lot of classes that take place in the rectory, so they'd get displaced. So I talked to the CCD teachers, I guess last Wednesday, just get their thoughts. Could we make this work? And the consensus among everybody, it seemed to be, was, let's do this. Let's see if we can welcome Father Steve Mondyke into the rectory out at St. Lawrence and see what we can do about CCD. So we're still planning on having CCD at St. Lawrence, but it might be a combination of using the hall, maybe a class will be in the church, on and off. So basically we can make this work. We can figure out how to make this work. So there'll be some things happening over the next couple weeks, couple months. The goal is to have it ready by the 1st of July, and I know that's just like one more thing getting thrown onto the to-do list for the 1st of July with this merger and everything going on with that. But in all honesty, it seemed like the hospitable thing to do. It seemed like the charitable thing to do. And so, and even exciting because, after, of course, these first, as long as Father Steve Mondyke is still assigned to the parishes in McCartyville and Sydney and Fort Laramie and Newport, he'll have to drive there and commute and won't be available for anything here. But whenever he does retire, that it'd be nice to have a retired priest in the area. You think about all the different ways we could benefit from that, and there's a long list of that, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, that's the gist of the plan, is that by July 1st or shortly thereafter, we'll get the rectory at St. Lawrence in a livable situation. It's pretty close, but it needs a little bit of TLC before it's ready to have somebody living there. And then, after that, we'll make sure we've got a place for CCD to land and kind of a configuration of the hall and maybe little things here and there to be done to the hall to have CCD present. So all in all, it's good news. It's exciting. And we'll see where the good Lord moves. It's almost like take it a day at a time and see how the Lord brings some curveballs. We weren't exactly expecting this year, but the Lord presents the opportunity. We do our best to discern, to respond, to ask God where is His guidance, and even being prudential about things. So he'll be renting the rectory there at St. Lawrence. Should be a great benefit for our people. And if you've got questions about it, feel free to stop me after Mass or shoot me an email or anything like that. Or we could grab a cup of coffee. And maybe in that regard, somebody did ask me if this coffee there's actually coffee in here, and there definitely is coffee in here. And maybe one last thought as we're thinking and praying about all this is that this video is being released on the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker. May 1st, the church dedicates herself to reflecting on Joseph, but not just St. Joseph, but specifically as his role as a workman. And so maybe we'll pray that St. Joseph the Worker may intercede in all of the refurbishing that needs done at St. Lawrence. Like I said, not a ton, but no problem asking for St. Joseph's intercession. And maybe while we're at it, to ask for the intercession of St. Joseph of all the construction projects going on, whether it's installing the air conditioning at St. John or revamping the Faith Center at St. Joseph. We'll just ask St. Joseph the Worker this day that he may guide all of those who work in construction, all of those who are working on HVAC or air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, all those things in our parishes, that he may keep them safe from all harm and their work may give glory to God. So this is Father Sean for another week of the Couch Chat. If you're curious about this, it'll be all about everything at St. Lawrence. Plan is to have it in the bulletin this upcoming weekend also. So we'll talk to you later and see you next week on the Couch Chat. Cheers.